Aita, drama, secrets, confessions. Welcome to Tale Trove Reddit.
I once thought my life would end in a dusty repair shop, with my hands covered in grease and grumpy customers constantly complaining. But no one could have imagined that in just one night, I would go from being unemployed to becoming a name searched by millions. I was fired in humiliation, standing in the middle of the street feeling like my world had collapsed. Then, in a reckless moment, I recorded myself fixing a broken old machine and uploaded it online, never thinking it would change my fate. And then, just a few hours later, that video exploded, turning me from the stupid repair guy into an overnight sensation. What exactly happened that night? Why did the whole world suddenly care about a failed repair attempt? This story will keep you hooked until the very end. Subscribe to my channel to follow the rest of this crazy journey. I was just a shabby repair guy, the kind of man the whole neighborhood mocked with the nickname, the Golden Left Hand, with a cursed mind. It sounded impressive, but in truth, it was their way of ridiculing me. Every day I lived in a damp little rented room. Breakfast was instant noodles, dinner was cold rice with dried fish. The only thing I could take pride in were these hands that could bring useless, broken things back to life. But life was never easy. I had skills, yet I was never recognized. Customers treated me like a cheap laborer, and my boss saw me as nothing more than a machine that worked non-stop. I used to ask myself, why am I this good, yet nobody cares? Have you ever given everything you had, only to be met with a dismissive shake of the head? That constant disdain turned me into a stubborn man, always desperate to prove myself. But the harder I tried, the further I sank. My girlfriend left, my friends drifted away, and in the end, all I had left was a rusty wrench and a pile of broken machines. The world saw me as invisible, but deep inside, I was brewing a storm no one could predict. What would happen if a desperate failure like me suddenly stepped into the light? Do you believe a life can turn around in a single night? I am living proof that it can. That day is burned into my memory. It was a sweltering morning, sweat dripping down my face as I bent over an old washing machine. Just one bolt turned the wrong way, just one strange sound escaping, and suddenly the entire shop exploded with shouting. The customer screamed, slammed the table, and my boss's face turned red like he wanted to devour me alive. He roared, "You're fired. Get out of here right now." I froze, my hands still shaking, covered in grease. Everyone in the shop stared at me as if I were some pathetic failure. Have you ever been thrown out of the place you gave years of your life to, all because of one tiny mistake? That feeling was like the whole world turning its back in a single instant. I walked out into the street, the sound of mocking laughter still echoing behind me. In my head, only one question kept spinning: why is one mistake enough to destroy my entire life? I wandered through the streets, watching the rush of strangers, wondering if any of them could ever understand my pain. A man with no job, no dignity, nothing left at all. I thought it was the darkest day of my life, but in truth, it was the beginning of an earthquake no one could have predicted. If I had stayed quiet and accepted defeat that day, maybe there would be no story left to tell. Do you believe that one push into the abyss could open a door straight into the light? I dragged myself back to my tiny rented room that day, my head spinning, my chest tight as if someone were squeezing the life out of my heart. In a fit of despair, I slammed my rusty wrench onto the table, grabbed my beat-up old phone, and did something no one would have ever imagined I'd dare to do. I filmed myself repairing a busted, hopeless machine, babbling nonsense, mocking myself like some kind of clown. I laughed like a madman, taunted the machine, and said the most ridiculous things. And then, without even knowing why, I hit upload to Reddit. No edits. No planning. Just one reckless leap. Have you ever done something so absurd without caring about the consequences? I thought no one would care. I was just an unemployed nobody, who would watch a dumb repair guy. But then, within minutes, the notifications started blowing up my screen. Views skyrocketed, comments poured in, people were laughing hysterically, calling me the angriest repair saint on Reddit. One person even wrote, "He's not fixing machines, he's performing stand-up comedy." I froze, staring at the screen in disbelief. A joke, a meaningless little clip, had just sparked a wildfire. Do you believe a single impulsive act can rewrite an entire destiny? If I hadn't been fired, would I ever have dared to do it? And if that clip had never been posted, would my life still be rotting away in the shadows? My phone wouldn't stop buzzing, the screen lighting up like it was about to explode. I opened Reddit, and froze. That stupid post from last night had somehow shot straight to the trending page. Upvotes were climbing so fast I couldn't even count, and the comments stretched on for thousands of lines. Someone wrote, "This is the funniest repair video I've ever seen." Another joked, "This guy deserves his own TV show." I read them with my heart pounding out of control. What the hell was happening? I wasn't a comedian, I was just an unemployed repair guy. But believe it or not, within just a few hours, the video had hundreds of thousands of views. By the end of the day, it had hit over 1 million. The whole world seemed to explode over my clumsy yet painfully real performance. Have you ever seen something worthless suddenly become a phenomenon? I had just gone from the shadows into the spotlight before I could even blink. In a single night, I transformed from a nobody into the repair saint everyone was talking about. Messages flooded in, collaboration offers, compliments, and criticism all crashing into me at once. I was trembling, caught between panic and pure adrenaline. How could a shaky video filmed in my shabby little room reach millions of people? Maybe it was the rawness, the pain turned into comedy, that made it impossible to look away. And that's when I realized, the real storm was only just beginning. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the even crazier twists that are waiting ahead. I thought everything would stop at a few million views and some funny comments. But life never settles for normal. The next morning, I woke up to find my inbox overflowing with messages. What nearly made me faint was that a massive YouTube channel, with tens of millions of subscribers, had shared my video. They called me the craziest repair guy on the internet. I couldn't believe my eyes. Can you even imagine it? One night I was fired, the next night I was the center of global attention. Online news outlets started writing about me, big fan pages were reposting the clip everywhere. My name shot onto trending, outranking actual celebrities. Someone even messaged me, "You're the reason I laughed for the first time in weeks of depression." In that moment, I was shaking with panic and excitement. I wasn't a celebrity, I was just an unemployed mechanic. How could I possibly carry the weight of all this attention? But then a thought flashed through my mind: if the world was watching, why not turn this moment into my turning point? Do you think I should have run from it, or thrown myself headfirst into the storm? One bold decision was about to change my life all over again. After my clip went viral everywhere, my life flipped upside down overnight. My inbox was no longer silent, it had turned into a storm. People were flooding me with requests, some wanted me to fix their stuff, others begged for a new video, and one even messaged me, "Can you fix my broken heart?" Can you believe it? A guy who got fired just yesterday suddenly became an internet idol in less than a night. Everywhere I went, people were talking about my name. Someone invited me to launch my own YouTube channel, another suggested I start selling t-shirts with my face as the Repair King. I laughed out loud, not sure if I was dreaming or awake. But deep down, a wave of worry crept in. What if all this hype was only temporary? Could I really hold the attention of millions, or would I be forgotten just as quickly, like a passing joke? I felt torn, standing at a crossroads. Should I turn this frenzy into a real career, or walk away before it swallowed me whole? Have you ever felt both overjoyed and terrified at the same time? That was me, teetering between the abyss and the spotlight, waiting to see if I'd fall or fly. While I was drowning in messages and the chaos of praise and criticism, one unexpected email dropped into my inbox. I thought it was another joke, but when I opened it, I froze. One of the world's top tech companies had contacted me directly. They said they wanted me to be the face of a global campaign. Can you believe it? A guy who'd just been fired days ago was now being invited to work with a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I read that email over and over, at least 10 times, my hands shaking so badly I nearly dropped my phone. They didn't just want me in an ad, they suggested creating an entire video series inspired by my crazy style. I laughed, but behind that laugh were tears. Who would have thought that a total failure like me could suddenly be chased like a star? Have you ever imagined one mistake opening a door to an entire empire? In that moment, I knew there was no turning back. If the whole world was watching, then I had to play this game to the very end. One decisive choice was about to turn me from a viral fluke into a name etched into the history of the internet. I accepted their offer, and from that moment on, everything changed in ways no one could have imagined. They brought me into a studio, laid broken machines from around the world in front of me. I fixed them while clowning around, and the audience went wild. Every video that went live racked up millions of views, thousands of comments calling me by a new name, the famous repair guy. A man once treated like trash had become a symbol of creativity and resilience. Can you believe a fired repairman could ever be compared to Hollywood stars? I never dared to dream of it. Yet here I was, getting invited to talk shows, signing ad contracts, even having people ask for my autograph on that same rusty wrench from years ago. Looking back, from the cramped little apartment to the blinding stage lights, I realized it all started with one tiny mistake. A mistake that seemed like the end, but instead opened up an entirely new world. Have you ever fallen to rock bottom only to be yanked up to the very top? I am living proof that madness like that can actually happen. Hit that subscribe button, because this story isn't over yet. The next twists are guaranteed to shock you even more. Looking back, I still can't believe this journey is real. From a repairman who got fired, I suddenly became a name the whole world was talking about. A mistake that should have ended my life instead turned into a leap no one saw coming. And I realized one truth: sometimes failure is the ticket that takes you straight into the spotlight. Have you ever thought that the worst moments might actually be the beginning of the best ones? I once stood in the street with trembling hands, thinking I had lost everything. But it was that moment of despair that pushed me to hit upload on that stupid little video. And it changed everything. Life is so strange that you never know what gift tomorrow might bring. One day you can be mocked, shoved to the bottom. The next day, you can become the symbol that makes the whole world tip its hat. So never underestimate a setback. Sometimes it's just the momentum you need to launch higher. What kind of madness do you think is waiting ahead for you? Would you dare to turn the cracks in your life into doors leading to something extraordinary? My story is the reminder: failure is never the end, unless you choose to give up.